Hey guys, how you doing today? Today's video is a contest entry for Dan over at Dots and Loops. Has a pretty interesting contest going on called I Like It. Basically, he wanted us to show, I guess it's 5 records that you personally like that maybe other people don't like or doesn't get the credit it deserves or got bad reviews, but you don't really care because you like it. So first record I'm going to show, Stone Roses' Second Coming. So basically it's the first, everybody knows the first Stone Roses album, the debut. It's the one that gets all the notoriety, and this one is really thought of as a lesser album. And you know, I would agree that the first Stone Roses album is the better of the 2 albums, but this is still an amazing album. I think its biggest fault, as far as most people are concerned, is that it doesn't sound like the debut. It's sort of less psychedelic, less chiming guitars, that sort of feel, less of a 60s vibe in that sense. But this record has an amazing 70s vibe in the guitars. John Squire, the guitarist, here sounds like he's channeling Jimmy Page, in my opinion. And if the first record is a 10 out of 10, which it clearly is, I would put this one up there for myself as at least an 8.5, if not a 9 out of 10. So I really like this album, and it definitely doesn't deserve the criticism that it gets. Okay, the next one, UB40, Labor of Love 2. I guess UB40 in general, after their first couple of albums, were really sort of put down in a way as sort of a pop reggae group, and not being really, an authentic reggae group, which I disagree with. Definitely this album, as do most of their albums from Labor of Love 1 onward, definitely sound more pop, but it's really good. And this is definitely, this is probably my second favorite UB40 record after their debut, Signing Off, which is very much an authentic reggae album. This is reggae as well, definitely more pop reggae, and I think it's dismissed for that reason. This is easily in my top 10 reggae albums of all time. I like it that much, and I do think it's a better album than Labor of Love, the first one, although that one gets more attention because of Red Red Wine. But this has got some, it's an all covers album, and got some great covers. The Way You Do the Things You Do, Wear You to the Ball, Here I Am, Come and Take Me, Kingston Town. This is a fantastic album front to back. Next, one of my favorite artists of all time, David Bowie and his album Tonight. This was the follow-up to the mega hit Let's Dance, and I think it's always compared to Let's Dance and being the less successful album that followed Let's Dance. Bowie recorded this in 84, or it came out in 84, the year after Let's Dance, and certainly didn't have the big hits like Let's Dance did with the title track, Modern Love and China Girl. The singles off of this here were Blue Jean, which was a hit for Bowie. Excellent song. Loving the Alien was another single, and the title track Tonight with Tina Turner. This came out during a time where I was really at my peak in terms of my liking for Bowie, and I was just delving into the back catalog, and so this being the album that was released right around that time, I was heavily into this, and I played this a lot. Haven't played this, I played it recently when I pulled it out for this video, because I hadn't played it in a long time, and it still holds up. I still like this album. The fault was, I think this was put out in a bit of a rush to follow the success of Let's Dance. It has a lot of cover songs, namely a couple of tracks from Iggy Pop. I think Neighborhood Threat and Tonight are Iggy Pop songs. But I still stand by this album and think this is a great album, at least an 8 out of 10 for me. And so it's really easy to criticize 80s Bowie, except for Let's Dance, and even that album gets some criticism as being too commercial. But Bowie released this album later on in the 80s when he formed the band Tin Machine with the Sales Brothers and Reeves Cabrels. I love this album. This is a nice, hard album, and I think was a bit of a return, or quite a return to form after the Never Let Me Down album, which was a little bit of a letdown, I'll be honest about that one. That was from 87. I think this followed in 88 or 89. I love this album. This is my original copy back from the late 80s. The Sales Brothers, again, the rhythm section here, and Reeves Cabral, who went on to work with Bowie on some of his later 90s albums. This is a nice hard rock album, but still has that Bowie art rock touch as well. So this is the only Tin Machine that I owned. I kind of, I don't know why I didn't get some of the other albums. If I saw them on vinyl, I think they're really expensive to find a used copy of that now. But this debut Tin Machine album, I stand by this album. This is an excellent album. And last one, Van Halen, A Different Kind of Truth. This is, I believe, from 2012, if I'm not mistaken. This was the reunion album that Van Halen made with David Lee Roth. This, of course, came after the Sammy Hagar, Van Hagar era, and the one Gary Cherone album. Then the lineup with Roth, the Van Halen brothers, and Wolfgang Van Halen on bass in place of Michael Anthony, reformed for a tour around 2007, I believe, and then put this album out. This gets a lot of criticism in that it... I guess it recycled old songs, for lack of a better word, songs that weren't previously released but were sort of kicking around in demo form. There's a lot of those songs on here. David Lee Roth, I've seen Van Halen on reunion tours twice, and David Lee Roth does not sound very good live, but he sounds amazing on here in the studio. This is an excellent album that I would put very close to that original slew of 6 Roth albums. And although I do like the Van Hagar period, this is, in my opinion, much better than any of those Van Hagar albums. So A Different Kind of Truth, Van Halen. I like it. Thanks, Dan, for doing this contest, and see you guys later.